Welcome to Faith and Freedom. For the next few minutes, we hope to inform, inspire, and encourage you as we discuss the legal victories and challenges to your fundamental freedoms and religious liberties. Faith and Freedom comes to you from Liberty Counsel, a civil liberties education and legal defense organization. Join us now as Matt Staver, the President and General Counsel of Liberty Counsel, explains the latest legal issues all across this country in the courtrooms of America. Liberty Counsel is winning the battle for your constitutional freedoms.
The Santa Rosa School Board in Florida is engaging in more questionable activity. We filed a document in federal court to reveal this activity. I'm Matt Staver, founder and chairman of Liberty Counsel and dean of Liberty University School of Law. Joining me is Matt Barber, director of cultural affairs for Liberty Counsel and associate dean for the law school. Matt, what has happened in the Santa Rosa County case is we have filed a preliminary injunction against the Santa Rosa County School Board. And this judge that seems to bend over backwards to help this unconstitutional activity in this case, then sent out a notice to say, well, she's going to give the ACLU plaintiffs an opportunity to intervene and also the principal of Pace High School the opportunity to intervene so that they can also defend along with the school board. So the principal of Pace High School, Principal Shell, said he wanted to help defend this case, and so he's filed documents opposing our motion for preliminary injunction, saying that this case ought to be dismissed against the school district. The interesting thing is, well, we thought that the principal was just against us. This new principal, Principal Shell, who came in there after the previous retired principal, and some of the school employees of the district, in particularly that high school, they were concerned, curious. Why is the principal taking a position against them? Because they're the ones that are being trampled by this unconstitutional consent decree. So they asked him the question, including his assistant, why are you filing these documents defending this unconstitutional consent decree that restricts our free speech? And he said, what? What are you talking about? Well, your name is all over these documents. He had no idea that the school had filed documents using his name to help defend this case.
Matt, that is unbelievable. It's unethical for the ACLU to have done this. How did they get away?
Well, it's not the ACLU; it's the school board.
The school board. Okay, how did they get away with doing this? Nonetheless, without even consulting him, putting his name, using him, and using his name to advocate a position that he doesn't even necessarily hold. It's understandable why he's upset.
Well, his name is on a pleading in federal court in an official document. And he's basically saying that he likes the consent decree. Liberty Counsel and the plaintiffs, all of the 20 or so people that we represent, get out of here. You should not have your day in court. And he is just as much, from what we understand, opposed to this consent decree as the rest of the teachers and the students that are in his school. And yet his name has been used by the school district to perpetrate essentially misrepresentation. Now, the school district attorney, I believe, also is very much in line with the ACLU. Mm-hmm. And if he wasn't, we wouldn't have had this consent decree. He's the one who ultimately agreed to this unconstitutional consent decree, which is the broadest consent decree taking away religious freedom that I've ever seen.
Well, I guess we should be surprised that any attorney or any school district would do something as unethical as this. But I'm not surprised, frankly. A school district that would agree to a consent decree that, from a constitutional standpoint, literally hogties the students, the faculty, the staff of Pace High School and of the entire school district, why should we then be surprised that they would dishonestly place the name of this individual and say that he is advocating, of Principal Shell, and say that he is advocating on behalf of the consent decree when all indications show that he is in disagreement with it. And my understanding is that he's quite upset over this, and I can see why he would be upset over this. I'm wondering what can be done here, Matt.
Well, we filed two affidavits in court of Principal Shell's secretary, who is the person who works directly with the principal, and she asked him. And also with a Pace High School teacher who also said the same thing, that she spoke to him. And, of course, we can't communicate with the principal because he's, quote-unquote, represented. So since he's represented, we can't communicate directly with him. So we got this communication through indirect sources, but these are people who work directly with him. And they were confused. Why, Principal Schell, are you trying to defend this case when you know how it actually works in our situation? How, for example, if we get an email from a parent that asks a question and the parent has a scripture verse at the bottom of the email, we can't answer it by hitting reply because we would be in violation of the court order, and thus we would be held in contempt. And we'd have to go through all this defense with the ACLU harassing us. Why? And that's just one of many things. Why would you do this? And he simply is shocked that his name's on here and disturbed that his name is being used to perpetrate this idea that here's another defendant. In addition to the school board, here's the school principal that wants this case to be dismissed, when in fact, that's not his position.
Well, Matt, anyone who listens to Faith and Freedom has probably heard us talk about this case. This really is just a landmark case insofar as it's the first time, at least to my knowledge, where the ACLU and where a school district and a judge have literally criminally charged individuals have sought the jail time for people for merely praying over a meal. This is what this consent decree has amounted to. This is where we have arrived in this country with the policies that the ACLU has been pushing and advocating for years. Literally, the criminalization of Christianity, and then to now for them to take it a step further and disingenuously, dishonestly use this principle, use his name, and say that he is advocating for something that he, by all accounts, he is not advocating for. This stuff, there used to be a day when you would use the term Orwellian kind of as a to make a strong point, as hyperbole, as this literally is Orwellian what we see happening there in Santa Rosa.
It really is. And so we want to ultimately get beyond this federal district court and get things up to the appeal process on this preliminary injunction. And we want the judge to rule one way or another so we can move on, because we know this particular court is not going to be a friend of the Constitution. It hasn't been so far, and I'm not expecting that it's going to be in the future. So that's why we want to get to this federal court of appeals so that we can have 3 judges look at this case and look at this consent decree. This consent decree literally tells these teachers and staff members, if you have a Good News Club on campus, you can't let the students or you can't let the people pray. And there's a constitutional right to do that. There's a First Amendment Supreme Court case that is actually directly on point.
We've litigated on that issue dozens of times.
We've never lost
Liberty Counsel has.
Child Evangelism Fellowship case. But if a Child Evangelism Fellowship Good News Club comes on campus here in Santa Rosa County at the school district after school, they have the duty to go tell them you can't pray. And if they don't, they're in contempt of court. They can't they can't participate in these private baccalaureate services. In fact, one of the people who is a pianist who has played the piano at a private baccalaureate service has been told she can't do that. They can't be involved.
Even on her own time as an individual?
Even on her own time, even when it's privately sponsored. And the situation that I said about the emails, believe it or not, I mean, that is part of a guideline that they've actually stated, that if you get an email from somebody that has a religious verse or a religious statement, you can't hit reply. Why? Well, because you would be participating in giving a religious message even though you didn't initiate it. You're just simply replying. You don't say anything religious, but because there's a scripture verse in the string under the name of the parent who sent it, then now you're going to be held liable for doing
Matt,
it.
what would our founding fathers say if they looked at this consent decree today, when you consider that this nation was founded, at least in large part, in order to further the principles of freedom of religious expression? I wonder what our founding fathers would say if they took a look at this consent decree.
Well, the interesting thing is that the founding fathers' photograph is actually in the courtroom that we argued this case. And it's the founding fathers standing around as they're deliberating over the Constitution of the United States of America. And in fact, one of the times that we were in court was on Constitution Day, of all days, where we successfully defended 2 people against criminal contempt charges initiated originally by the ACLU and prosecuted by the prosecutor in this case. Give us a call at Liberty Counsel, 1-800-671-1776. That's 800-671-1776, or lc.org. Go to our website, sign up for the Liberty Alert email, the Liberator newsletter. All of those are free of charge to give you information about your family, faith, and freedom. There's also information there on the website regarding students' rights and teachers' rights on public school campuses. You can ask for those brochures right there from the website, or you can call us at 1-800-671-1776. We also have books on teachers' rights and students' rights, each one for teachers, one for students. You can get them together or separately. Call Liberty Counsel to order those books, or find more information by going directly to our website at lc.org.
You have been listening to Matt Staver of Liberty Counsel. Our hope is to encourage and inspire you to stand up for your faith, family, and freedoms. We can accomplish a lot when we work together. Get informed and get involved today. Sign up for our free monthly newsletter, The Liberator. We will send it out to you free of charge. Stay informed with our Liberty Alert email update. Just click on the website at www.lc.org or call us at 1-800-671-1776. Tune in next time to learn more about your rights right here on Faith and Freedom.